Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. This time, I am joined by what seemed to be the people's champ out at USDGC this year, Mr. Sullivan Tipton. How you doing, buddy?
Doing great, man. Really excited to be on here with you. Really appreciate the opportunity. But yeah, it's a great day.
Yeah, a beautiful day. It's beautiful, sunny, and like 64 here in San Francisco. My question to you, though, it's the off season. Where are you? We see you all over the road, but where's home base?
Yeah, so right now I'm in my senior year at school in Tampa, Florida. So this is my last year. So I've been doing tour for like 2 years, kind of now, just like bouncing in and out of school, in and out of tour, just flying usually back and forth, unless it's the summer that I'm driving. But yeah, right now I'm in Tampa, Florida, and got a A tier coming up this weekend. So I'm doing all of my off season in Tampa, Florida right now.
I love it. That was kind of, going to be my question. We were originally going to schedule this for yesterday, but you informed me you had class, which is not generally something I hear from a lot of the disc golfers that they have to juggle. So, where are you going to school? You said you're in your senior year. Are
Mhm.
you like ready to go full time tour after this? You just chomping at the bit?
Yeah, so I'm in school at Florida College in Tampa, Florida. It's like a really small private Christian school down here. Had family that went here and ended up deciding to come here. But it's been great. And yeah, the plan is as soon as I graduate in May, hit the tour like full time for the rest of the season. I'll be able to do most events at the beginning of the year just because the tour started in Florida now. And so I can
Hmm.
hit that early stretch, which I didn't get to last year. So yeah, I'll be pretty much like 90% of the tour next year. I missed like maybe 3 events total, but that's about it.
Well, I will say you've already got. You said you have an 8 tier coming up. Is that the Jacksonville Open? I think I saw that a lot of people are playing.
It's the Trailblazer Open.
Oh, excuse me. Where's that
Yeah,
at?
so it's in Orlando.
Super cool.
Yeah.
So, by the sounds of it, you're still super excited to be playing disc golf. Some of the people I talked to who just had a full year of tour, they're like in full rest and recovery mode. Half the tour went to like Halloween music festival. But when you get back to class, are you or to school, are you like talking about maybe how the ending of the season ended? Are you like talking amongst friends, or is that just like a totally different life for you? And when you're at school, it's just like I'm just Mr. Sullivan.
I mean, it's a little bit. I guess I'm more just Sullivan over here. The whole school kind of knows I play disc golf,
Hmm.
and so we have like chapels every day, and so they'll announce like how I do in tournaments, and they'll show some videos and some highlights of some tournaments on like the big screen there
Hmm.
sometimes. So they're aware of like that I'm leaving a bunch, and it's not a huge school, so like a lot of them know when I'm not here and gone for a couple weeks at a time. But yeah, I try. It's pretty much just normal Sullivan for most of the time here, especially with my buddies. A lot of the people here play disc golf too,
Mm.
so they enjoy. I get rounds with them, and it's a good time.
Yeah, super good time. It's I always enjoy to see like the balance between the just complete chaotic tour life, Newton, different city every day, with how that resonates with people at home. It's like it can be 50-50 on whether they like a quiet home life or not. Um, I want to talk to you a little bit about USDGC though. It's likely where most people saw you for the first time. I've obviously been at a lot of these events, so I've seen you, in the middle of the field having good success relative to somebody just starting tour. But USDGC seemed to be that tournament that brought you into the forefront of a conversation, really. So we're like a month and a half, yeah, a little over a month and a half, almost past it. Reflecting on it now, how do you think about that tournament? Was that the highlight of your disc golf career? Was that just another stepping stone in what's soon to be a great career? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, looking back on it, it was definitely the highlight so far of my disc golf career. Certainly the most memorable moments at that tournament for sure. First time like lead card.
Hmm.
I remember like watching Jomez as like a 12-year-old and thinking like this is so cool. Like I want to be on that. So like reflecting and looking back on it, making it, I was like, man, dude, that was like one like thing that I just really wanted to hit, and I got it, and it was super cool. So yeah, looking back at USDGC, it was my best tournament so far, most memorable. But yeah, I think it's still like another stepping stone. I think there's still a lot more that I want to do within disc golf. But yeah, great event overall. Like wasn't had a like kind of like a slower last round, which
Hmm.
dropped me a little bit, but I was not disappointed at all. Just super happy with what I did that week for sure as a whole.
Well, I mean, the thing that struck me personally was it seemed like every time I looked in your direction, there was a gigantic smile on your face. Eh, was that just like, is that just generally how you are day to day? Were you like just enjoying every single moment of it? You know, where did that, is the smile still there? How we stand with that?
No, yeah. I say as a person, I try to be like always happy with everything that comes my way, and even when I don't have a great round, I try to be positive and everything. Um, a bunch of my a bunch of my friends like Kevin Kiefer and these guys like, oh guys, I saw Sullivan got really mad one time. He like said, oh man, or something. um, but it's funny. Yeah, I try to just be positive no matter what. I know that I've been blessed in a lot of ways, and I'm out there competing at USDGC on lead card. Like, I'm not gonna be mad about anything out there.
Yeah, very true. Speaking of maybe not being mad, something that could have been exciting, the Goon Squad that somehow formed in that crowd, just yelling "Sully, Sully" was
Yeah.
probably the highlight of the tournament for me. Were those like all of your college roommates? Did you know those people? Did you meet them afterward? Like, what was that situation all about?
Yeah, so I remember it was like the first putt on hole one. They started that, and I look over. I'm like, wait, who's saying that? And it took me a couple holes. I kept looking over, and I had no idea who these people were at the time. I had never met them before, and they were doing it the whole round, just yelling my
Hmm.
name. And I was like, man, this is pretty awesome. And so I was like, man, I gotta like talk to these guys at the end of the
Yeah.
round. And so I went up to them and I met them, and they're from New Hampshire. Never
What?
been to the state. Never met them before. They're like, yeah, man, we just liked you, man. You're out there. We saw the ace, like we're rooting for you. I'm like, let's go. And yeah, so after the tournament, I got in contact with them. I was texting them, sent them a bunch of discs, and
Oh,
yeah, they're great guys. I just love the support. But yeah, never met them before. It was awesome.
that's so random. Like it honestly, it felt to me like you had flown these guys out, like specifically as a support system. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Um, every year there's always somebody at USDGC that has a breakout performance. It may not be the winner, but it's always, I think Nathan Queen in years past, where he had an incredible 4-round stretch. Didn't end up winning, but really made his name for himself. Chris Clemens. Oh God, when Calvin made that run at the end, like there's always these iconic moments. Is this who you are going forward? Is this that level of play sustainable? Was it a one-off tournament? Like, how do you feel like you're going to be able to or not able to live up to that each and every tournament going forward?
No, yeah, that's a good question. I think this is just like another stepping stone for me. It's been weird, trying to balance school and disc golf at the same time. I was coming from like those rounds and going back home trying to finish up some schoolwork, and uh, so I was still like a little like I'm not like entirely focused on disc golf yet.
Mm-hmm.
And once I get school off my load and start dedicating like all day to disc golf, like I'm really excited to see like what I can do. I don't know like where it can go. Hopefully really big. Um, but I grew up wrestling, so I have like a
Mm.
like just a mentality of go go go, like work work work. And it taught me a lot of things, and it translates not necessarily like technique wise to disc golf, but more of like the headspace and mentality. And I think I get a lot of that from that. And so yeah, I hopefully it goes somewhere really big, and that's my goal. And that's all I can do is just work for it and
Mm-hmm.
try to get what I can do.
Well, let me ask you, you're in school, you're in your senior year. I would hope at this point you have a major chosen. What are you studying? What's the degree going to be in? And when did it turn for you from like, man, I'm going to get this degree and play a little disc golf to I'm really good at disc golf and I'm just getting this little degree?
Yeah, so so I've been playing disc golf for about almost 10 years now, but didn't really start doing tournaments until I got to college,
Mm.
just because wrestling and baseball like filled my entire like weekend schedule. So, but I played a course just about every day. Had baskets in my house, so I played disc golf for a long time. Got to college, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do business management. That's what I'm gonna do. But I was like, okay, I'm done competing wrestling and baseball. Let me just try to find something to still be competitive at.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started playing some disc golf. tournaments and just like kind of just slowly just work my way up from like a C tier, like B tier, A tier, a little bit bigger events. And it was probably like I would say like my junior year where like Kevin was like, dude, come play a tour event. And I was like, all right, I'll come play a tour event. And then played about like 6, 7 events that year and did pretty well at like Ledgestone. And that was like my breakout one of Ledgestone from like a year or two ago.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I was like, man, I could like really, really do this like full time, I think. And so about like the last year or two, I've been balancing like school and disc golf, thinking, okay, I think I can really do disc golf full time. But yeah, I'm doing business management here. Currently like the intern for the Paul Macbeth Foundation. So I've been working with them since the whole summer, just on a bunch of different things they have going on with the business side, and got a chance to go to Madrid, Spain with them. They took me out there, and so I was on that trip working with them this summer. But it's been great working with them, understanding like the disc golf side of business, and yeah, I think I want to stay within disc golf somewhere for sure.
Yeah, well, hey, business management, there's plenty of businesses to manage within disc golf. So I imagine if you really want it, it's right there for you. I want to bring it back a little bit. You started to mention when you first started playing disc golf, and that's always interesting to me. Like, how did our pros first pick it up, but not only pick it up, but like take it a little more seriously? So you said you've been playing for 10 years. You're in your senior year. That means you're probably 11 or 12 when you picked it up. Is that fair to say?
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I think 11, 12.
What was the impetus? Was that what did your family play? Did you run into it on like I think a lot of camps and stuff like that have it? Like, how did you first get introduced to disc golf?
Yeah, I went to a bunch of summer camps and always loved throwing a frisbee, like a ultimate disc.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my friends from my travel baseball team, we wanted to start making trick shot videos. And so we started making YouTube trick shot videos with ultimate disc and like basketball goals, trash cans, stuff like that. So if y'all like look really hard on YouTube, you can find some old videos of a 12-year-old Sully making some trick shot videos. But it kind of started off with that, and we were watching more trick shot videos. Saw some people throwing into baskets, and like, okay, what is this? So we looked it up. We found there was a disc golf course, and so we just went there with ultimate disc, trying to make trick shot videos into these baskets. And we realized like, okay, there's tee pads. People are playing using these discs. So we figured out what disc golf was from just trying to do trick shot videos. And so we bought more disc golf discs to try to do it with those, and end up playing and gradually playing. And then like COVID, during COVID, me and one of my high school buddies signed up for a doubles tournament for Alabama. And we ended up winning this doubles tournament, and then we got sent to the USDGC doubles in 2020. And so this like during that time, I'd only played like 3 tournaments ever. And so me and him, we went to USDGC doubles, and we ended up winning USDGC doubles in 2020. And so we won that. I'm like, okay, like let's start playing open and see how we can do. And that's kind of like how it kind of gradually started, of playing like little amateur tournaments and okay, let's go open.
Well, how does your family, like, it goes both ways, right? Or I could see it going both ways. Like, how does your family feel about your level of obsession with disc golf? Do they see the success that you've kind of had and are all in? Are they like, oh, you were going to college and now it seems to have derailed a little bit? Like, how does the family feel about disc golf and its involvement in your life?
No, my family is all in on disc golf for me. Yeah, they're just excited of like what can happen with it, just the potential. But yeah, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna drop out of school. I'm gonna stay in school. I'm here, so I'm gonna finish this. Keep them a little bit happy. I mean, they'd be fine with whatever decision I made, but I was like, no, I'm gonna stay in school, stick to it, get my degree, and then we'll do it full time. So yeah, I think that was the best decision for me, and so they're definitely all in with what I have, whatever I want to do.
No, that's awesome. That kind of support system goes a long way. I think a lot of the younger players these days, are coming in with that support from their family, just because it's so easy to see the upside now, as opposed to maybe 5, 6, 8 years ago. Was a little bit less clear how you make a career out of this. But it's really exciting. I'm really excited to see just the support holistically for everyone doing the tour now. Um, One kind of anecdote I have relevant to you. I travel around with Matty O a fair amount on tour. We stay in a lot of the same hotels. He's just a character, and I love spending time with him. But one of the things he said a couple years ago, honestly, was in reference to you. And he's from Alabama. He pointed at you and said, "That's the next dude from Alabama." And coming from Matty O, I just felt like that held some weight. So I've kind of always had a little bit of an eye on your success and how you've been coming up in the ranks, just because it's a connection with Matty O. So is that something that you are shocked to hear him say? Is that something that he's said to you? Do you even have any connection to Matty O at all? I mean, you're both representing Bama, which seems to be there would be some sort of connection there.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I remember watching Matty O at my home course back in high school, and he was just shredding it. So I've like seen Matty O around at some local tournaments for a while now. But the first time I ever played with Matty O, I think was 2021. No, maybe 2022. I can't remember, but it was at a tournament in Mobile, Alabama, and he didn't really like know me at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like another guy playing a tournament, but I ended up shooting like my highest rate round ever, and like with an ace that round and almost catching Matty O. And so his first impression of me was me like kind of like slowly coming up to him and getting an ace and almost like got the course record, like just taking it down. So his first impression with me was like my best round of all time. And so that probably helped a little bit. But yeah, he's a big Bama guy, and we always like to see like our Alabama guys do pretty well at tournaments and stuff, and so maybe it's a little bit of that. But yeah, Matty is a great guy. I love talking to him, and he's awesome. So I appreciate him a lot.
Of course, and he seems to have obviously a level of respect for you, and almost like a passing of the torch element to a degree, representing Bama. So it's always fun to see. You said that
One more thing.
Oh yeah.
Sorry. We were at D-Glow. He was like, it was funny. He was like, "So when are you gonna be the next best Bama player?" I'm like, "I don't know, Matty O. When are you gonna stop throwing the disc, man?"
No, it's so true, right?
Yeah, it was funny.
Oh man, that's good. I mean, Matty O is always good for that too. It's like,
yeah,
I don't know. It seems like you can always come up to him, say anything. He's gonna come back with something positive or a fun joke or something like that. You mentioned that you played with him or saw him play your home course. Correct me if I'm wrong. Happy to be wrong here, but is that Inverness out in the Birmingham area?
Yeah,
okay.
Correct.
I stopped by there on one of our trips from Jonesboro to, I don't even know, some other course, DDO maybe, out in Emporium. We were like, hey, let's play this high-rated course. It's called Inverness. Oh my God. It was the craziest like adventure course, up, down, through tunnels of trees, like valleys everywhere. Talk about that being your home course. You got to want to play there. That's not like a park course you just go and train at. Like, that takes work.
Yeah, some people like think it's like if you play like the long pro tees, it's one of the hardest courses in the US, definitely in the southeast for sure. Rating wise, it compares similar to Northwoods, like how you shoot, like rating wise, like usually even +1 is around 1,000. But yeah, I live 8 minutes from that course.
Wow.
That's the one that was the first course I ever played. And so I would say for about 6 years, I was like, okay, yeah, this is just like a normal, typical disc golf course. And, once I got out around the country playing a bunch of courses, I was like, realized how lucky I kind of was having this course. And, but yeah, having that course super close by was awesome. And some of my biggest memories from that is during wrestling season, cutting weight, grab one disc, go out there, throw, run. And if you know that course, I mean, it's up, down, up.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's a workout, and it'll get you going for sure. But, yeah, I love that course. I mean, it's amazing. Whenever I go back home, I mean, I'm there like all the time. I love it.
It's actually fun to hear you say that you used to wrestle and play baseball. I want to tag on that a little bit. Like, have sports been your, like, not life, but like taking up most of your time, like your whole life? And like, were you on varsity baseball? I played baseball too, so it's always fun to hear somebody who played baseball in high school. Like, what level did you get to? Did you have any consideration of taking either of those past high school?
Yeah. So I started wrestling when I was 4 years old, and baseball probably around like the same time.
Hmm.
But so yeah, wrestling and baseball, and I love baseball, but wrestling was what I focused on pretty much
Mm.
majority of my life. And yeah, I started when I was four. Traveled nationally for wrestling, and that's pretty much what my everyday life was just wrestling, working out, running, going to practice, training off season. And so I made it like my goal. Okay, I want to be the best wrestler I can. And so in high school, I won a 7A state title for Alabama for wrestling, and that was like my dream. Like, man, like that's what I trained for since I was 4 years old. This is what I wanted. And senior year, that so I won it my sophomore year, got second my freshman and junior year, I got second. And then
Wow.
my senior year, I was ranked number one in the state for wrestling. And then 2 weeks before state, I shattered my left hand, and so I had to
Oh,
get
so tough.
surgery. And so yeah, I got metal bars in my left hand right now. And so I tried to wrestle state just right after surgery with just wrapped up, and it just couldn't really go that well. But I got third my senior year, and but yeah, after I broke my hand, I had thoughts and considerations for wrestling for sure.
Hmm.
But after that, it was kind of like the end for wrestling for me. After I pretty much shattered my hand, I had to just let it re-heal, and it took a while. But it's pretty much back to normal now. It's still like some lifts I can't do, just because it puts
Oof.
really big pressure on like the bar in my hand.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, so yeah, once I was done competing for wrestling, I mean that's pretty much what I trained for since I was four. Like that was wrestling was pretty much my life growing up. And it was kind of like a family thing. Like my dad wrestled, my older brother won,
Okay.
my younger brother just won his second state title.
Oh,
And
so the Tipton clan goes deep with wrestling.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, it was our life. Like me and my little brother were watching, live wrestling like all the
Hmm.
time. And but yeah, that's where I come from. Wrestling was like that was my life before school and disc golf, I guess. Yeah.
Wow. So just so I heard that correctly, you got third at state with a broken hand, or just after surgery with a broken hand.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
That's serious. Like wrestling is it's not disc golf. You can't just throw the left hand off, like over here and rip with your right hand. So
Right.
wow, kudos. That's toughness. Is that so? When I think wrestling, I think like up at 4 a.m., running by 4:30, before class, like lifting in the gym, after class, grinding, sweating. Like, is that a level of work ethic that you're bringing into disc golf? Because traditionally, disc golf does not have that work ethic. It's usually a lot of like, let's go chill back at the Airbnb, you know?
Yeah. No, yeah, for sure. We would have like workouts running before school, then we'd shower, go to
Mm-hmm.
class. And after school, we're in the gym. I mean, in our room practicing wrestling. And then usually, if you see like all the top level wrestlers, they're usually not done after their high school practice. They literally go to like a little club thing, or go at night and run. And
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of funny. I would go run every night with my dad at our high school stadium. And what we would do is, because we don't it's fun to run sometimes, but we like to make it a little bit more interesting. We would grab an ultimate disc, and I would run, he would throw it, I would stop, he would run, I would throw it to him, we would stop, run. And so we do this down the field. And we do that pretty much almost every night. Go to the field just like for conditioning, just for staying in shape and just getting some weight off. But yeah, me and my dad would grab an ultimate disc. But yeah, so I like to bring that kind of work ethic into disc golf for sure. And like right now, I'm trying to work out every single day, just keep my body in shape.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to eat healthy, eat right, stuff like that. So yeah, my body is definitely up there, trying to keep it healthy. And yeah, just the grind and practicing is definitely what I'm trying to bring in and incorporate into disc golf
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
No, I hear you with the body work too. Like, one thing that people don't realize is such a big factor with the traveling and touring is, we drive in cars for 10 hours, we get out. A lot of times it's like, okay, I just got here, let's start a practice round. And then you're done and you're back at the Airbnb and you're sitting around a lot. There's just like not the culture of fitness per se that is in a lot of sports, especially at the professional level. So I think with a lot of the younger players, it seems like everyone is taking it a little bit more seriously, trying to be a little bit more athletic with it. So really, honestly, it's stoked to hear that you're bringing that traditional sports mindset into disc golf, and it's showing, obviously. I mean, you're getting so much better so quick. One avenue that I want to touch on that is completely opposite of body work and the physical side of it, the mental side, the emotional side of being on tour. I think back to Cole Redolin out at Ledgestone. He took one of the most impressive performances of the year. I don't know if it was wire to wire, but it felt like it. I mean, he was just dominant there at the end. A big group of people ran out, gave him a big hug, threw him up on their shoulders. I believe you were part of that group, right?
Yeah, I was.
So talk about that moment and maybe just like the community that you've built and the friend group that you've built on tour and what that means being on the road.
Yeah. I've gotten to know Cole really well over the last year or so, and yeah, we got a group out there called Eagles Wings, and it's just a bunch of Christians out there that are on tour, and we have like a Bible study and a chapel every week, and it's just a really good community of just finding people who like believe in Jesus Christ, and we're out there. It's almost like a little family on the road. And it's really nice to have them in our corner, and we've gotten really, really close with a lot of people in the group, and it's been great having like that encouraging side on tour, because it can get a little lonely sometimes. I'm sure the people who do it full time experience that, and having a lot of those guys around and staying with them on tour, reading the Bible with them and studying it. It's been really, really great, and it's a great community to have out there. And yeah, that's why we were all so pumped and ran out there with Cole, because we were so happy for him, and it was awesome. It was a great experience for sure.
Well, I want to touch a little bit on next year before I get you out of here. I'm assuming there's some sort of class that you've got or something coming up, but I don't want to take too much of your time. Or for next season, do you feel like what is the travel going to be like? Is it going to be RV? Is it going to be van? Is it going to be small sedan that you're going from Airbnb to B? Are you going to be like a passenger seat surfer where you're just hitching rides? What does that look like for next season?
Yeah, so I think most of the season I'll be driving pretty much everywhere. Since the Florida Open is literally 40 minutes from my school, I can just literally stay in my room and travel back and forth, which is really nice. But yeah, I'm gonna miss 2 Texas events and MCO. I think are the only 3 events I'm missing. Just school and just finish up finals and stuff. Mm-hmm. But so yeah, I'll fly out to like Waco, and I'll fly out to Jonesboro. But other than that, I'll be driving everywhere in my truck. And usually, like last year, like Silas and Gannon would like hop in my car and we'll drive just because they don't have a license, but they do now. So
Wait, Gannon has his license?
I think so.
Oh,
I think
God.
he has a license now. I know, it's scary.
It's a scary thought.
It's scary. Yeah, I wouldn't let him drive it though, especially on the highway.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
But yeah, so I'll probably be in my truck. I'm sure people will like hop in and we'll caravan, and just depending on the week I'll probably either do Airbnbs. I think I know a pretty good amount of people in different cities, and so usually I can just like find some friends and family that I know and stay with them. Like I have a place for most places already. There's only like it'll probably be like 3-4 events that I'll get an Airbnb for, or a hotel with some guys. Because other than that, I have a place to stay for other places. And like years past, people that I've known from years past, I'll just stay there again, most likely.
Yeah, it's that's kind of old school though. A lot of the newer players aren't necessarily leveraging the nationwide community that disc golf has. That was just the way it was for a lot of years. You like drove into town, you opened up your phone and started hitting people up. Hey, you got a place for me to crash? So like, I honestly love to hear that you're kind of in that same direction as well. It's like feels like the roots a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. It's fun. It's fun.
2 more questions before I get you out of here. It wouldn't be an interview in this time of the season if we didn't talk about the awards a little bit. Specifically Player of the Year. There's a lot of conversation over the 3 kind of front runners, Gannon, Calvin, Isaac. I talked to Kale. He had an interesting take on it. I'll run it by you after you tell me your choice. Who would you pick for player of the year?
Gannon, Calvin, and Isaac. I think me personally, I think I would probably say I think Gannon has like the most tour wins on that list. I'm pretty sure Calvin was most consistent. But to me, I think it was Isaac. I mean, he had 2 major wins, and obviously the world championship and then Champions Cup, his home course. Not his home course, but his home state.
Yeah.
And that was just so impressive to me. And to me, like, Isaac was just super dominant at those courses too. I think player of the year. It's so hard because all 3 had incredible seasons, but I'd probably give it to Isaac. Second year on tour, wins worlds. I mean, that's just crazy to me. But I understand, Calvin, is just probably the most consistent player all year. And so I see the view and the argument for every player. I think every player could win player of the year and be, rightfully so, that they could win player of the year. And so there's not a bad pick in whoever anyone picks, and there's a great argument. For me, I would probably go Isaac Robinson just for those 2 tournaments and just the way he won them too.
The way that Kale phrased it was, I want to think about which player I would most trade to have their season. And for him, great season, Calvin, but like 15, 20 years from now, you're going to think about the majors, not necessarily the regular season events. So he would more like to trade with Isaac rather than Calvin. And I think that when I heard it phrased like that, I'm like, that's interesting. Like, that's probably what every player would say. Like, they would happily trade an entire season's worth of success for those 2 events. So interesting to hear you come to that same conclusion for the most part.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thinking about that too. That's probably the exact same thing I would do if I had a trade like down in the future. Having one of those would probably be Isaac's too.
Yeah,
that's a really good.
So last thing before I get you out of here, I've been asking everybody this off season. This is the content corner. Okay, what shows have you? And if none, that's cool too. You just been grinding, like just making putts. But like, what shows? Netflix, HBO, any streaming services? Have you been watching sports? What have you been enjoying content wise this off season?
Yeah, so Breaking Bad is the greatest TV show of all time, and it's amazing. But I've been grinding Better Call Saul, which is like which is like the show that talks about some characters before Breaking Bad. So I've been doing that, and then college football right now. I mean, I'm from Alabama, and so college football is basically everyone's thing down there. And so it's the question, Alabama or Auburn, and I'm an Auburn fan, so I don't. Sadly, I know our season's not going great, but it's funny because the rest of my family is Alabama fans.
How did this work out? How did that happen?
It's kind of, I have a funny story of how I became an Auburn fan. Because my dad had season tickets to Bama games growing up, but my grandma had season tickets to Auburn games. And so when I was a little kid, I'd be going back and forth to Alabama games and Auburn games. And, if you're like 4 or 5 years old, your grandma probably spoils you a little bit. And so
I see.
When I went to the Auburn games, the grandma would buy me the jerseys, the footballs, invite some friends. Yeah, you can get that. Let's go. Dad's like, you don't need that. And so I was like, why do I want to go to Bama games if my dad's not buying me anything, as a little kid perspective.
Oh, no, totally. You're coming home with jerseys and ice creams and stuff. Like, I love Auburn.
Yeah. And so, Auburn grew on me. They say, like, my grandma bought me out, and probably true as a little kid. But yeah, I stuck to it even through the hard years. I had to stick through it. But yeah, I'm an Auburn fan.
I love it. It's like early signs of the NIL deals too, where they're just like, you don't have to pay for rent. You can be an Auburn fan. Come on in.
Yeah. So Thanksgiving week is great with the family, but there's a lot of tension that week. It's Iron Bowl week. So
I bet. I didn't see that. I'm from San Diego, like West Coast. We just don't have that in us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't even know what that's like, but gosh, I would love to just be a fly in the wall for some of those, deep family arguments or conversations, either way. Sullivan, really, like, I appreciate your time so much. You didn't have to do
Yeah,
it,
thank you.
but you did. So thank you. I want to give you a chance, though, to speak to all the fans out there. If specifically the Sully Goon Squad, go ahead. But just all the people out there rooting for Mr. Sullivan Tipton.
Yeah, well, yeah, especially that squad out there at USDGC. They were the best. I mean, I really appreciate them being out there. They made my week for sure, and everyone else out there, like, I just appreciate everyone's support. Even if they don't know me yet, I love to hear from you guys. I appreciate all the support from everyone. Big shout out to my family. They're definitely the biggest support I have. They help me out a lot, especially when I'm on tour too. And my school for just allowing. I'm at Florida College in Tampa, Florida. They allow me to miss a lot of school and make it up on my time, and they're really really supportive and think a lot of me for it, and I appreciate them. So yeah, thank you to everyone for sure.
Yeah, and hey, we all appreciate you for doing what you do with the Frisbee. Between the ace at USDGC or just all the long booming sidearms and all the ones I'm sure we'll see for the rest of your career. Thank you for all the work you've put in to put on such a great show. For all of you at home, that's about all I have for this interview, though. If you'd like interviews with all of your favorite professional disc golfers, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel.